Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pammy and on here I'm reviewing all things clean beauty. So thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Now today's video is going to be extremely exciting because I am going to be doing my favorites video of the year, meaning my favorite clean beauty releases of 2020. So we're gonna have a look back at 2020, talk about these clean beauty releases, and of course I'm not gonna be rounding up all of the things that I've tried in 2020. I'm solely gonna focus on the products that were released in 2020 and that made it to my top list. I will definitely try and make some top 10, maybe some collection videos, maybe some of my favorite videos during this year, but I just want to stress out that this video specifically is dedicated to all of my favorite makeup that was released in 2020. Now I also want to mention that I'm not going to go in depth with the review today. I'm just going to tell you what I loved and why I loved it. But if you do want to see more about a specific brand or about a specific product, I definitely have a video most likely on my channel. You just have to search my channel, so you can type in any sort of product in my search bar and it's going to come up with the video where I'm using it. So I would highly recommend that. Sometimes I also have full faces for these videos. And also, if you do enjoy clean beauty and you have not subscribed in 2020 and you do want to do that, I would really appreciate it. You just have to hit that subscribe button. You can of course also ring the bell to stay notified about my upcoming content. And if you do enjoy my little throwback of 2020, please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Of course, that would be very much appreciated. Of course, all of the products on my channel are cruelty free. Most of them are vegan, but I would always highly encourage you to actually look at the ingredients yourself if you have some doubts. Sometimes I forget to mention if something is vegan or not. So the way I'm going to do this video is I'm going to just tell you my favorite products of 2020 in each category. So we're going to do this category by category. So the very first category would of course be something like prep and prime. However, I do have to admit that I did not really try out a lot of primers this year. I mean, that were released this year, and in general, I don't think that there were many sort of primer releases. Now, I do want to mention that I tried out the Bite Beauty Changemaker Skin Optimizing Primer for oily skin. This is the mattifying version. They also have a hydrating version of this. This came out very early in 2020. I actually really like this primer, but it's not a primer that I reach for every day. So in that sense, I cannot really say it's my favorite one, but it's a good one, you know. I'm very sorry that this category seems to be very disappointing. I'm so sorry. The next category is definitely going to be a little bit more interesting. So let's go ahead and jump to the foundations. So let's start with the foundation that I would absolutely recommend. So this is the Beauty Care Naturals Second Skin Color Match Foundation. So the Beauty Care Naturals foundation, I've been raving about this so much. Such a nice foundation. I'm already almost halfway through with mine and I never use one shade. So I actually mixed the shade 1 and the shade 4. I bet you they will expand their shade range because this is a very new brand. So I'm really excited about this because this foundation is so good. The texture of this is a dream. It is very lightweight and you can build this up to a very full coverage, you guys. You don't need that much product. Like I can build this up to a very full coverage and just not feel anything on my face. This is so lightweight in texture. Usually it takes me about 2 layers to get a very full coverage. So in case you are not that sort of full coverage girl, I would just advise you to use a little bit less product and you're still gonna get a beautiful finish, because sometimes I also like to use this product for a little bit of a lighter coverage as well. So in that sense, a very versatile, very flexible product. This has a beautiful radiant finish as well, a little bit on the dewier side, but once I powder this down, it looks just how I like it. It's just a foundation that I would recommend, and also the ingredients in here are very pure. If you're interested in this foundation, I have a full face by this brand where I'm going into depth about the foundation and where I'm also showing you all the swatches, all the shades from, I think I have shade 0 to shade 4. So yeah, if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that video out. But this is one of my all-time favorite foundations. So let's move on to the next foundation that I've been truly, truly loving. So this is the Sephora Clean Foundation Natural Glow. So in 2020, Sephora actually launched their own clean beauty collection with their own product line. So exciting. The only thing I've tried out so far is the foundation, and I have to say, I really love this foundation. Now, this foundation in America is called Sephora Clean Foundation. Here in Europe, it's called Sephora Care Foundation. It is exactly the same thing, the same formula. So only difference is the packaging and the name, but everything else is the same. This foundation is actually marketed as a natural glow, more hydrating foundation. This foundation wore beautifully on my skin. I feel like it was on my skin for a good 6 solid hours where it held up. So I'm wearing this in the shade 20N, which is the shade 20 neutral. One thing is though, I think in America the shade range is a little bit different. So I can't remember what shade that would actually be. It's the shade, the light one with the neutral undertones, basically. That's the one I have. Actually, you can build up the coverage of this quite well. And I'm not sure why they are only marketing this as a light coverage. Because of its nature being more of a glowy, radiant foundation, this wasn't super blurring on my pores or extremely flattering on my pores. That's the only thing I would have to criticize a little bit about the foundation. But once I powder it down, it's fine. You know, if I put a little bit more of a blurring concealer on top of this, it's fine too. So this was a really, really good release by Sephora, and hopefully they're gonna come out with more stuff in their clean line. I would be very excited to try out more. Especially for the price point, so really good product. So let's move on to the next foundation that I freaking love. I love this so much. This is so good. So this is the Bite Beauty Changemaker Supercharged Micellar Foundation. I feel like this is a foundation, when I tried it out the first time, I didn't like it that much. The only thing I will say is there is a synthetic fragrance in here, but it's less than 1% of the entire formulation, because otherwise this product wouldn't also be clean at Sephora. It doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother my skin. This actually agrees very, very well with my skin. I never have any breakouts from this. This has this beautiful velvety satin finish that I like. It's less dewy than the rest of the foundations that I just showed you and mentioned here. I can do 2 layers of this and achieve a very solid medium coverage, one that I'm happy with. Another thing that I find remarkable about this foundation is actually the fact that this starts looking so much better on your skin throughout the day, because after 3 hours my face actually looks better than right after the application, which is very astonishing, and I've never came across a foundation that actually does that. So yeah, to me this is definitely one of the best releases of this year. I freaking love this foundation. So now I want to tell you about the foundation that I was most likely wearing the most. I have mentioned this foundation already in my favorite fall winter makeup of 2020, but this is just a foundation, although it's not necessarily considered as clean. I mean, when I looked at the ingredients, I'm fine with them. I mean, there is nothing crazy toxic in here, you know, and also this is perfume free, which is great as well. So this is the Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation by Rare Beauty. I am wearing this foundation actually today on my face. I mean, this gives me an insane amount of coverage with the most lightweight formula I've ever tried. I like to blend this out with a brush first and then go over it with a sponge. This has a beautiful sort of radiant skin-like finish. The coverage level on this is what just gets me. So if you're looking for something that has an insane amount of coverage with the most lightweight formula, go with this one. It's amazing. Enough with the foundations, let's actually move on to some concealers. Now I have 3 concealers that were released last year that I've also tried out that I'm loving. So let's start off with the most controversial one just first. So this is the Kosas Revealer Concealer. I love this concealer. I have an entire video on this concealer and I still love this concealer. I really like it as sort of more of a spot concealer. I have to say I have to be very careful on my under eye area with this concealer because this will crease just because it's a more emollient product. However, what I like to do with this under my eye is I like to actually apply just a little bit of product and then apply it a little bit lower, further down, and then actually drag it up with a beauty sponge. Like if I use a sponge with this product, perfect. No creasing whatsoever. I also set this with powder. This is a beautiful concealer. And good news, they actually have released more shades. Because the biggest complaint about this concealer this year was actually that it would run too yellow in undertone. So they actually expanded the shade range, which is great. I'm gonna try these new shades because, to be honest, to me, it's also a little bit too yellow, the shade 02. So I'm planning to do actually a Kosas full face review, and I will definitely let you know about these new shades when I've picked them up. But in that sense, I really have loved this concealer. It's a beautiful, creamy, sort of, I would say, medium coverage concealer. Let's talk about another concealer that I truly love that was released in 2020. So this is the Erin's Faces Radiant Firming Concealer. This comes in such a beautiful bottle as well. This concealer reminds me a little bit of the Kosas one, but less emollient. So if you want something that's still creamy, less emollient, this might be the product of your choice. I love this as a spot concealer. I think this has a beautiful amount of coverage. It is a little bit more on the luminous side, but also the Kosas one is definitely more radiant. I mean, this is called Radiant Concealer, so it's definitely more radiant. It didn't work that well for my under eye area, but the other day I've tried it again, and I will say I prefer the Kosas one a little bit more on my under eye area. This one I use more to spot conceal. If I have some spots, I use this one. I really love this. This is a beautiful concealer, you guys. Let me know if you've tried out this concealer, because I feel like not a lot of people are talking about this concealer, and it's just so mention worthy. It's so good. It's such a great product, and you're getting a ton of product actually. This has 8 milliliters of product. The Kosas one has 6 milliliters of product. So just be aware that you're getting quite a lot of product, and this comes in this beautiful glass bottle. I have the second lightest shade, which is the shade Magnolia. If you have not tried this out, I would highly suggest this concealer to you guys. Yeah, I love it. I mean, in accordance with the foundation I love, how could I not talk about this concealer? So this is the Liquid Touch Brightening Concealer by Rare Beauty. I could not have mentioned this product. This is amazing. Oh my gosh, if you thought I would love the foundation, you have no idea how much I love this product, right? This is so pretty for my under eye area. This is the most blurring concealer I have. I feel like if you want a concealer that's gonna make you look like you have a filter on your face, this is it. It is a dream. Now I would definitely go in very, very sparingly with this product on my under eye area because it has so much pigment, you know. It's beautiful, but just, you know, to avoid decreasing. Also, you know, if you have a little bit finer lines, this might go in there. So just be aware of that. My advice to you would be to let that sit on your skin for a solid minute before you're actually blending it out. And don't overuse this product. It's easier to add product than to remove it. So that's that for the concealers. Only 3 concealers. So let's move on to the next category, which usually would be my setting powder. Now, I was looking at all of my setting powders and I was like, wait, there was not a setting powder released this year. I don't think there was. I honestly don't think there was a setting powder that was released. No products, no category, right? So I can't really show you anything. So those were all my favorite base products, but let's move on now to the complexion. I feel like I actually want to start off with the face palettes first. Now, I want to mention this palette in particular. This is absolutely beautiful if you like cream complexion products. So this is the Salt New York palette and the Creme Tint Pros. So let's talk about this beautiful casing for a second. This is vegan leather. It's this beautiful, gorgeous magnetic palette. So if you are just on the hunt for a magnetic palette, you might really want to look into this because this is beautiful. I mean, the quality of this is just something I was looking for forever. And once we can travel again, this is definitely going to be in my travel bag because, I mean, yeah, this is so beautiful. Comes with this beautiful mirror as well. As you can see, here are my Creme Tint Pros. I love this. I actually used this palette in a video where I'm doing an all cream look. So in 2020, this was one of my favorite cream formulas ever. They are definitely a little bit glossier than, you know, your normal cream, but beautiful, very natural looking. I just like everything about this. They have a bunch more shades, and they actually came out with 2 new blush shades, and they look so stunning. I have 4 bronzes for you guys today that were released in 2020 and that I truly love. So let's start off with the very first one, which is the only cream bronzer in this category. Now, this is the Tower 28 Bronzino in the shade West Coast. The beauty of this product really is the fact that this blends out like a dream, and although it has this sort of like shimmer in it, the shimmer really does not translate to your cheeks. It's gonna give you a very healthy glow. It is a little bit more sort of goldeny in undertone, but more pulling red, if that makes any sense. On me, this shade is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful cream formula, and I would definitely recommend this product. Okay, so let's move on to the next bronzer. So this is the PYT Beauty Matte and Shimmer Bronzer. So this is a duo pan bronzer. So on one side, you're gonna have this shade, which is matte, and this shade, which is a little bit shimmery. And you know what this reminded me of? What this would be a great dupe for? It's the Lila B bronzer. If you've ever looked for a cheaper dupe, this is it. I mean, essentially it's the same thing. Both of these formulas are very, very similar to each other. And I was like, it's not just because of the duo pan, it's also because they just kind of look the same on the skin. I still love this. This is one of my favorite bronzers by Lila B. But I would say if you ever want a cheaper one that kind of does the same thing, this PYT one is actually very beautiful. They only have 1 shade, so hopefully they're gonna come out with more shades, because this won't be a bronzer for every skin tone. That being said, I love this. I think this is a nice sort of affordable release in 2020 that might have been overlooked by some, but yeah, I freaking love this, and this is a really nice bronzer. So let's move on to the next bronzer, and I feel like this was such an overhyped bronzer when this came out. So this is the Kosas, the Sun Show bronzer in the shade Light. Every time I open up this bronzer, I'm thrown back to my childhood, because this just smells like Play-Doh. It's exactly this. It just smells like Play-Doh. So anyway, let's talk about this bronzer, because I feel like a lot of people either liked it or did not like it. This is their lightest shade. They have 3 shades of this, and I freaking love this bronzer. I really, really, really like it. I think this is a beautiful bronzer if you want something a little bit more glowy. Now on my skin, this doesn't come up as like super glowy or over the top shiny. This actually melts in beautiful with my skin tone. I don't know why, it just looks so natural on my skin. This is a baked formula, so the very first time you're gonna dip your brush in, it's gonna have some kickback, but that's just the very first time you dip it in. So let's move on to my favorite bronzer that was released in 2020. I freaking love this bronzer. So this is the Lovinah Beauty Desert Goddess Hydrating Matte Bronzer. I made an entire video about this bronzer when it was released. First off, I love this packaging. Can we talk about how nice this paper packaging actually is? So pretty. Secondly, she released 8 shades, so you will definitely find a shade with this bronzer. I have the shade Karoo. This is actually advised for light skin tones, and it is so pretty. It's a little bit warmer, but it's not pulling orange. This retails for $21, but you're getting 16 gram of product. 16 gram, that's so much. Do you guys know that this Kosas one, which is a little bit heavier and looks like more product, actually only has 6 gram of product? So if we are looking at this optical illusion, you would assume that this is more product, but really this is a lot more product, because my opinion, this goes down pretty deep. So that's why we have 16 grams of product in this. A good cost efficient product, this is the way to go. So those were my bronzer recommendations, so let's move on to the blushes. And this is by Saint Cosmetics, and this is their Radiance Finish Blush. So this is my very favorite shade. This is the shade Spicy Cinnamon Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I use this quite a lot in the summer because this just gives me the most beautiful flush on my face ever. This is very pigmented though, so I would suggest to always tap off your brush on your arm or somewhere before you are going in. They revamped their entire packaging this year, and then they came out with these new blush shades. They had a different packaging for their blushes and different shades. I mean, I love these Saint blushes. They're really, really good. Let's actually move on to, I would say, my favorite blush release of 2020. So this is the Lawless Make Me Blush Velvet Blush Collection. This was definitely my favorite blush release. I don't know, I felt so giddy when I saw that release. I felt like a little kid. I was so excited, and Lawless is one of my favorite brands, so oh my gosh, I just could not wait to try out their blush formula. Tried out all of these shades. I've got them all. I have them swatched in a video. I'm gonna link that video up in the cards if you want to see all of these blush shades. So amazing. I mean, this formula is my perfect blush. So I have two favorite shades for today's video that I'm wearing as well. My very favorite shade is the shade Indian Summer. Beautiful sort of satin finish. Also, the pigmentation on this is amazing because you don't run into the danger of, you know, putting on too much pigment straight away. With the Saint one, you gotta be a little bit more careful. With this one, you don't. This has an amazing mid pigmentation. So that means that it's gonna show up on your skin, but you can build it up. If you want it more intense, use more product, you can definitely do that with these. And then my other favorite shade is the shade Vintage Love. I prefer Vintage Love a little bit more on my cheeks. Beautiful, dusty, pink, sort of rosy shade. Whereas this is a little bit more intense. This is almost like pulling pink reddish. So let's move on to highlighters. So let's actually start with the Ilia Daylite highlighting powder in the shade Decades. This reminds me a lot of my beloved RMS Luminizer. This is a beautiful champagne-y sort of golden highlighter, and I really like the formula of this highlighter, and I feel like no one's talking about this highlighter for some reason, and it is actually really stunning. One of my favorite ones with the RMS if I want something more goldeny, you know, in shade or more champagne gold. So the next highlighter that I really liked was this Kjaer Weis powder highlighter. They have two shades, and I think I have the shade Beam. I really like this. This is a refillable packaging as well. This is more on the icy champagne side. This is definitely not golden or anything, but it just looks so beautiful on my skin. I really love it. It's been a release that I've been enjoying, and I found myself reaching for this quite a lot. Okay, and now let's move on to my very, very favorite highlighter of this year, the one that I think I used the most. So this is the Saint Cosmetics Radiant Finish Highlighting Powder in the shade Lunar Glow. I already love the 24K one, that is the golden version of this highlighter, but this year Saint actually released this amazing highlighter in the shade Lunar Glow. I'm wearing this on the tip of my nose today and actually around here. It's the most beautiful shade I've ever tried in a highlighter, and there are definitely some great powder highlighters in clean beauty that won't accentuate texture, and this is one of them. But well, that's everything I've tried in terms of complexion. So let's actually move on to the next category. Let's move on to the eyes. So let's actually move on with some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes of this year. I just can't get over them. They're so beautiful. They're amazing releases. And the first one is by Sydney Grace. This is the Tiny Marvels palette in collaboration with Mel Thompson. This formula is a dream for any eyeshadow lover. The matte shades in here are very buildable. They're very nice. You can blend them out like a freaking dream. They are pigmented. They are just gorgeous, you know? So all these kind of glittery shades are very soft. They feel like butter to the touch. If you touch them, you can feel that they are very soft, and I just love this formula. This formula is stunning. The only downside about this palette is I don't know if it's still available. I really don't know, because this was a limited edition. I know that they did a restock once, but I'm not sure if it's still available. And I created so many gorgeous looks with this palette. It is just stunning. So yeah. This one receives a top award in my collection because I just love everything about this. Okay, let's move on to the next release that I truly, truly, truly love. And this is the Lawless, the Baby One eyeshadow palette. So first off, I'm a huge fan of Lawless eyeshadows because they have a wonderful blend. They kind of blend so beautiful. They are a little bit more powdery in formula, not crazy over the top pigmented. And that's why I love them, because you can truly build them up. So if you really want to invest in a good eyeshadow formula and you're really somebody who likes to learn techniques with eyeshadows, I think this is a palette that you can definitely have a look at. I mean, Lawless also has the big one and this other smaller one, but this is definitely more the plummy sort of version. Just the shade selection is perfect. This shade here is very soft to the touch, not powdery at all. This is more like a soft buttery formula right here. These four are definitely more powdery. This one even is a little bit softer as well. And for some reason, I do feel like this eyeshadow palette by Lawless has a little bit more pigment than all the other eyeshadow palettes. I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but I feel like this has just a little bit more pigment, you know? So I really, really love this eyeshadow release. I think this was great. This is beautiful, and I do assume a lot of people will love on these shades. And now let's move on to my very favorite. I think if I would pick one out of all of them, this would be the winner. So this is the Lovinah Beauty Eye Magic palette. Yeah, this was released this year. She also released her matte eyeshadows, but this one is my favorite one out of all of her eyeshadows. This is so beautiful. I mean, come on. It's very, very pigmented though, so tap off the brush before you're going in, unless you really want a lot of color straight away. My favorite shade out of this palette is definitely this shade right here. And then I also love this shade and this shade. So these three brown shades, oh my gosh. It's just something very special, and you can do so much with this, so many different looks, and I freaking love this. That's it for the eyeshadow palettes. Now let's talk about two eye toppers. So this is the Victoria Beckham Lid Lustre in the shade Tea Rose. These lid lustres, I have them in multiple shades, and I freaking love them. They're amazing. But one of the shades that I truly love is the shade Tea Rose. Like, I would even say, if you are somebody who's kind of lazy with their eyeshadows and you just want something that's gonna blow everyone out of their socks, it's this. You can wear this as a single eyeshadow all over your eyes and it's gonna look absolutely stunning because you can blend this out. This has this beautiful pigment and this insanely gorgeous glitter in it. I just cannot explain how beautiful this product is. I can actually apply this with my fingers. I just literally swipe it over my lids. You really have to go in and swipe a little bit. Then afterwards you can blend it out with a brush. You can put on as much as you like. You can, you know, layer this up, build it up a little bit. It's so beautiful. And then you can literally smoke it out. I really like the shade Honey too, but I prefer the shade Tea Rose just a little bit over the shade Honey. And then another product that is a little bit newer to me, but that was released recently, is the Lawless Bio Glitter eyeshadow. And I have this in the shade Sparkling Rosé. Now this is very different from the Victoria Beckham formula, because with Victoria Beckham, it's definitely more of a pigment, like a real sort of shade. This by Lawless is really a glitter. It's a full-on glitter. This doesn't really have like a pigment underneath it, so that would look like an eyeshadow. You could probably just put this on your lids all over and it's still gonna look nice, but I don't think you get as much saturation as with the Victoria Beckham one. So immediately you can see that this is more glittery, whereas this has more pigment to it, sort of like more of a base, you know. This is more like loose glitter. The shade is absolutely stunning. I put this on my lids and I was really surprised how beautiful this actually is. It's so stunning, and I think it's gonna work so well with the Baby One eyeshadow palette as well. They also have this in another shade, in a more golden tone shade, so if you want something more golden, just know that that exists. I really like this product. I think it's really innovative to come up with a biodegradable glitter as well. And yeah, I've been really truly enjoying this. Okay, you guys, we're almost there. So let's actually talk about mascara releases. I feel like it's one of these products that so many people ask me questions about, what mascara I would recommend. And these mascaras won't flake, they won't smudge, they won't give you raccoon eyes, and they're just incredible. The best ones. I was very, very, very highly selective in this category. So this is the Essential Mascara in the shade Black by Elite Beauty. First off, this packaging is absolutely stunning. It's not 100% recyclable, but you can definitely recycle the bamboo packaging. It has this beautiful kind of normal standard fiber brush to it. It is actually a lengthening and a volumizing mascara, but it's not overly dramatic. It works, you know, it's not gonna flake, it's not dry, it's a beautiful formula. It actually smells like Christmas. I would say for my everyday life, this is my mascara. And at the end of the day, this is a mascara that just does what I want it to do. So let's move on to the next mascara release that I truly, truly love. So this is the Erin's Faces Matcha Mascara. This is made with matcha. That was already one thing. I was like, wow, a mascara made with matcha. I love matcha. So the brush is kind of like a little bit thicker on the top and on the bottom, and it's a little bit more narrow in the middle, but it's kind of twisted around in a very interesting way. This mascara is actually very volumizing. It's not as lengthening as the Elite one, but it's really nice, and I've been really enjoying it. It's very clump-free, it's mess-free. And this actually comes in a glass bottle as well. And I think you might be able to recycle this entire thing. I'm not sure, but it's actually more of a sustainable option as well. And yeah, I really, really have loved this mascara. Really, really nice. So let's move on to my very favorite mascara of 2020. So this is the Hourglass Unlocked Instant Extensions Mascara. This is a tubing mascara, so what is really funny about this is it comes off so easily. So the way I remove this is I just splash a little bit of hot water on my eyelashes, and then I kind of like rub them in between my fingers, and this is gonna come off. You know, you don't need any sort of product on your eyes to remove this, which is awesome. Another thing is this is the most lengthening, the most volumizing, the best freaking formula I've ever tried. I have tried out their Kosas mascara and I did not like it. It's the best one. So the reason I'm saying that is because it doesn't take a lot of time to actually get the effect that I want. And I can build this up and it's gonna look super dramatic. This is not clumpy. I love this more silicone-y brush. If you're not a fan of that, maybe not. But this silicone brush, for some reason, the shape of this allows me to get every single hair, every tiny little hair. So if I really want to go the extra mile with my eyelashes and make them super dramatic, super lengthened, super volumized, this is the mascara I will reach for probably forever. I love this. Let's actually move on to the last category. Let's move on to the lips. So this is the Victoria Beckham Posh Lipstick, and my favorite shade is the shade Pose. I know this is a little bit more of a pricier product, like everything with Victoria Beckham. This is such a beautiful sort of dusty rose brown. I mean, absolutely stunning. It's very hydrating, but it's not going to move around. They actually have much more pigment than I thought that they would have. I can wear this with so much. I can wear this with so many eye looks. I love this packaging as well. What a sleek, elegant, sort of posh lipstick, right? Very beautiful. So my very, very, very favorite lipstick of 2020 is no other than the Satin Luxe Classic Cream Lipsticks by Lawless. Maybe you knew that this would come. It is absolutely stunning. It's this beautiful, more cool-toned, sort of also rosy brown shade right here. Let me actually put the Victoria Beckham underneath it. So this is the Lawless Suede. This is the Victoria Beckham in the shade Pose. This one is a little bit more brown dough and a little bit more cool toned than the Victoria Beckham one. This one is also matte and creamy and more pigmented. Lawless makes the most beautiful lipsticks ever. These are very long wearing, they're not gonna go anywhere. They're very hydrating, although they have a satin matte finish. But I also have two other shades that I actually truly like. Now I also have the shade 90s, and this is absolutely beautiful. This is a true brown, nude, almost pink undertone to it. It is stunning. I love this so much. This is a little bit deeper than Suede. And then I also like the shade Platinum. This is the shade Platinum. This is more of like your nude pink shade. I like to put this in the center of either the shade 90s or the shade Suede. Okay, so those were my favorite lipstick formulas of 2020. Last category would be lip gloss releases. Let's actually start with a more affordable lip gloss. So this is the Shine On Milky Lip Jelly by Tower 28 Beauty. And I have this in the shade Almond. They released 4 new shades of this formula. Tower 28, I think the entire brand was actually launched in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Now this is a very lightweight, sheer pigmented lip gloss. So although this looks very brown in here, on my lips it's actually coming up more nude. So this doesn't have that much pigmentation, but I actually like it, you know. It looks so nice. The intensity of the shine here is very, very glossy. Wears about like 2 hours and then I have to reapply it. This is not a very long wearing gloss. That's the only downside of this product. I also don't need much product. The doe foot on this is really, really nice. It's not sticky. It's just a beautiful lip shine. So let's move on to a lip gloss release that I have mentioned multiple times. I've actually done a video, an entire video on this collection, and they actually sent that to me. So thank you so much. So these are the Fitglow Beauty Lip Color Serums. This beautiful collection was, as the word says it, simply beautiful. I have loved this collection so much. The only shade that I gave my mom was the shade B because it was just a little bit too pinky for me. It wasn't something I would reach for, and she freaking loves these now as well. So my favorite shades that were released in 2020, definitely this beautiful shade Halo. Then also I love the shade TI out of the beautiful collection, and I also really love the shade Full. The shade Full definitely does have the most pigment out of all of these. And the shade TI kind of reminds me of my favorite shade Gleam. Just Gleam has a little bit of a shimmer to it. TI does not have any sort of shimmer. So if you don't like all these nude brown shades, they definitely have plenty of more colorful shades as well. But I'm somebody, I always love a good brown nude kind of color. So, I mean, you guys know by now what I like, right? So no wonder that I like all of these 3 shades right here. Now, I think they're worth the price because first off, they're a real lip treatment. I have no lip gloss that feels the same way on my lips than these. I just don't. They have a little bit of a plumbing effect, but it's not gonna like be crazy tingly or anything, you know. You can kind of feel that it's doing something. And now the other thing I do want to mention about this product is the fact that this is the most long wearing lip gloss product I've ever tried. This is on your lips like forever. Like, I don't know, it feels like a real treatment, like a thick, cushiony, pillowy mask on your lips. These are non-sticky. Just have a look out if there's any sales going on. But this is definitely a product I would always recommend. I mean, I have these in multiple videos and an entire video dedicated to this beautiful collection that was released. Best lip product ever, you guys. This is just nothing beats this lip gloss formula. So yeah, you guys, but I feel like it's time to conclude this video, and please do let me know in the comment section below what your favorite product of 2020 was. But yeah, you guys, please feel free to comment, to also give this video a big thumbs up if you have enjoyed this sort of yearly roundup. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, I would absolutely love to have you here. You just have to hit the subscribe button, and you can also ring the bell to stay notified this year about my upcoming content, and believe me, there's a lot coming up. So meanwhile, please do enjoy this year. I hope we're gonna enjoy it a little bit more than last year. So please take care, stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.